Welcome back to The Explainer. Now, if you caught our last one, we talked all about team collaboration with Claude for Slack. But today, we're taking that exact same powerful AI and dropping it right into where so much of the actual heavy lifting happens. We're jumping straight into the spreadsheet itself. You just hit Control-Option-C on a Mac or Control-Alt-C on Windows, and this super clean, dedicated sidebar opens up right inside your workbook. You've basically got this incredibly capable AI agent sitting right there alongside your data, ready to get to work. To really stretch this out into a full step-by-step tutorial, we're going to take a messy, real-world spreadsheet through its entire life cycle. We're looking at 5 key steps today: debugging errors and decoding formulas, a massive data cleanup, visualizing things with natural language, dynamic forecasting, and finally locking it all down as a secure, repeatable custom team scale. Let's get into it. Okay, phase 1, debugging and decoding. We are starting with every professional's absolute worst nightmare. You know the exact feeling we're talking about. You open up an inherited spreadsheet built by a coworker like 3 years ago, and you're just greeted by this terrifying wall of hashtag value and division by zero errors. Normally, you'd be sitting there in a complete panic, manually clicking through 100 cells, trying to untangle the mess. But with Claude, you just ask the side panel, hey, why is there an error in the May average price column? And it instantly traces that division by zero right back to an empty cell for units sold. It literally tells you exactly what went wrong and gives you these direct clickable cell citations to fix it, like just filling in the missing data, without blowing up the rest of the model. But what about those incredibly opaque formulas that you didn't even write? You're staring at some massive string of nested references, and instead of spending 20 minutes reverse engineering the whole thing, you just naturally type, "How does this formula work?" And Claude just breaks it down piece by piece. It takes a super complex VLOOKUP function and translates all that technical jargon into completely simple layman's terms. It tells you exactly what the lookup value is, where the table array lives, what the column index means, and why it's using approximate matching. Best of all, it gives you clickable citation boxes. You can jump right to the specific cells it's talking about. You'll instantly understand the underlying logic. And no, you absolutely do not need an advanced degree in Excel to do it. Right. Moving on to phase 2, the big cleanup. Because honestly, before we can analyze anything, the data actually has to be clean. So we're looking at 3 years of raw, disorganized, exported sales data. It's got messy dates in a dozen random formats, hidden duplicate rows everywhere. It's a complete mess. But with one simple instruction, you just say, clean the raw sales data, standardize dates to a year, month, day format, remove duplicate entries, and sort chronologically. Claude actually double checks and asks for your permission first. And once you approve it, wham, it transforms that mess into a perfectly clean, historically sorted sheet. Every single date is in that clean format, and those hidden duplicates are just gone. And here is where it gets really smart, perfectly showcasing Claude's contextual awareness. It's not just some blind formatting tool. After cleaning things up, it analyzed the results and casually noted a 16% revenue increase from 2023 to 2024. It even pointed out that 2025 is on track to finish really strong, especially considering it only has 10 months of recorded data so far. You're getting immediate analytical value right out of the gate. Okay, phase 3, visualizing the data. Next up, we're tackling what is arguably Excel's most intimidating feature for a lot of folks, building pivot tables and charts. We start with this massive jumbled table of regional raw sales transactions. Dates, regions, products, reps, revenue, just thousands of rows. And look, instead of manually highlighting this huge range and guessing what belongs in the rows box versus the values box, you just tell Claude, in totally everyday language, exactly what you want. You literally just type it out. Step 1. Create a pivot table showing total revenue by region and product. Step 2. Create a chart from this pivot table. Step 3. Change the chart to be a stacked bar chart and add a title. It completely handles all the complex setup instantly. You don't have to drag and drop a single field. The result is a perfectly formatted stacked bar chart that visualizes your sales data beautifully. But the absolute best part is that Claude explains its reasoning for the layout with complete transparency. It tells you exactly what it changed. That means you can confidently ask follow-up questions to tweak the colors or adjust the axes, all just by chatting with it. All right, phase 4, dynamic forecasting. So the crucial takeaway here is that Claude doesn't just clean up the past, it actually helps you forecast the future.
We're talking about highly complex financial scenarios, like building a discounted cash flow, or DCF model. In layman's terms, that's just how analysts figure out the present value of a company based on the future money it's going to make. We just asked Claude to build a complete DCF model, using 5 years of our newly cleaned historical financials, applying a 10% discount rate and a 3% terminal growth rate to calculate the implied enterprise value.
Claude seamlessly executes the whole thing. First, it analyzes the historical growth rates. Then, and this is super important, it creates a dedicated assumptions sheet. From there, it maps out the free cash flows line by line all the way out to 2028, calculates the terminal value, and carefully discounts everything back to present value. It builds the structure exactly like a seasoned professional analyst would, showing its work the entire time.
And it doesn't just hard code a bunch of static numbers. The model is fully dynamic. All the dependencies are perfectly preserved, meaning those forecast values are linked via formulas straight back to your assumption sheet. You want to test a worst-case scenario? Just tweak the growth rate or the discount assumptions on the fly. The entire valuation updates dynamically, and you won't break a single cell doing it. Finally, Phase 5, automation and security. Up to this point, things have been incredibly fast, but what if you need to run this exact same variance analysis or this specific data cleanup every single week? Well, you definitely shouldn't be typing out those same prompts every Monday morning. On paid plans, you can actually save that entire multi-step workflow as a custom skill. Once you nail down the perfect process to reconcile a tricky data set, you just save it. It turns hours of repetitive, tedious labor into a permanent one-click button that literally anyone on your team can use. It makes your specialized expertise instantly scalable. Now, naturally, you might be a little hesitant about feeding highly sensitive HR or finance data into an AI, but Claude integrates securely with your enterprise data compliance policies right through your existing cloud providers, like Amazon Bedrock or Google Cloud's Vertex AI. So your IT department can configure the data handling settings to perfectly match your strict internal compliance policies. Your proprietary data never, ever leaves your secure environment. So you get absolute peace of mind working within your established security framework. However, always remember this. The AI is there to accelerate the mechanical heavy lifting, but you are still the expert. You definitely need to verify the AI's math and make sure those outputs match your specific industry methodologies before you finalize anything or present it to a client. Which leaves us with this final, somewhat provocative thought to wrap up our explainer today. We've just seen how Claude instantly handles data cleaning, untangles nasty formula errors, structures perfect pivot tables, and builds dynamic financial models. So when all of that tedious mechanical work is completely automated, how will you evolve? How are you going to spend those hours you just got back? Hopefully, focusing on the big decisions, the complex scenarios, and the actual strategic story your data is trying to tell you. Thanks so much for exploring this with us, and we'll catch you in the next explainer.